Coach, can you tell us a little bit about transfer Nick Starkel, what you've seen from him, and what you expect him to bring to this team?
Well, I think when you look at our quarterback room in general and the additions that we've brought in and how active and how aggressive we were this offseason says values of where our football team is right now. From the addition of Ben Hicks in January and allowing John Stephen Jones to continue his development. And we knew there was a possibility with a successful baseball season that Connor could choose to go baseball. So we had to be active. And Nick Starkel was someone that I've known for quite some time as far as recruiting. His skill set, his level of confidence. He's played in this league. He's won in this league. And I believe a lot of people thought he was going to be a starter at another school in this league. And so to be able to bring him in, a young man that's has graduated and has 2 years left to play, will only intensify the battle in our quarterback room that's much improved.
Coach, over here to your left.
Hey, Coach, you have a lot of talented running backs, but I want to ask about Monte Spivey, new to campus. What have you seen from him so far? What do you like, and how can he also improve? Thank you.
Well, with Monte, as well with all of our freshmen that have joined us in early June, he's done a really good job of fitting in and grasping as much offense as he possibly can at this point through the meetings and the player-led workouts that we've had this summer. I anticipate him to be a force this year to help us out, an area that will help create depth. Obviously played in an incredible program and won at a very high level in the state of Alabama, and we're excited about having him on our team.
Coach, to your right against the wall.
Hey, Coach, Michael Bradden from Saturday Down South. We just had Sosa in here, and I was asking him about the level of buy-in on the team. I know he's one guy that you basically told, go to the NFL if you're not going to come in and buy in. Can you talk about the level of buy-in from your players going year 2 in your program?
Well, I think with anything you do the second time around, you're going to be better at it. You're more comfortable, and I think you see that with our players and our staff. They're comfortable with us. They understand what the culture is. They understand what the expectations are. They understand for what it's like to play for the Hogs and the passion level that our fans have for Razorbacks and Razorbacks football. And to be able to when they step on that field, that classroom, that they represent someone far more than just themselves. And as with Sosa and all of our guys, coming into year 2, if you're not all in, don't waste your time. And we've got a tremendous buy-in. Our culture is stronger than it's ever been. It's something we work on consistently and daily, and very proactive in the approaches that we take. And what I have seen is you see a football team that is player-driven. And I think you see that with the 3 young men that we brought in here today. They exemplify what you want your culture to be about. And so I'm very confident in where we are as a buy-in level in our program.
Coach in the middle on the 3rd row.
Coach, just curious about this quarterback battle. What's the structure? What's the game plan? When would you like to have a starter named? How will reps be distributed? All of that.
Yeah, I would like to have a starter named as soon as we could. Earlier in camp, if it presents itself. We want a clear-cut winner to come out of this thing, a guy that our team can continue to rally around. I know this is what I do know for sure, that the workouts that have been player-led this summer from all of our quarterbacks has been as strong and as good as it's ever been. And that's listening to defensive players talk. So I think what you have found with all of our quarterbacks is the leadership that they've all commanded and elevating everybody else on your team, and that's what you want. So we're going to put them in positions during fall camp, and they're all going to get their share of reps, but we want to try to narrow it down as quickly as we could.
Coach, right here, front row.
Drew DeArmond, WCZN Radio, Huntsville, Alabama. Coach, I know the first year was difficult, changing the culture of the program and putting your stamp on it. But talk about the job your staff did as a whole, recruiting at a very high level in the top 20 class. And then second part of the question, how much progress defensively do you think John Chavis and that group can make this year?
Well, I believe that you can judge a lot about someone when times are at their toughest. And it's more so of how you respond and not back down from the problems at hand. And our staff, our players have done a tremendous job of responding, of making every day count. And every is our motto, and everything matters. And 235 days ago when we started this second-year journey and building on what was established in year one, we knew that yes, it was tough, but it was necessary. We had to go through that to get to where we are in this program today, to get to the buy-in level of where we are today. So I definitely believe and confident.
Welcome in. It's the A edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. We come to you live each and every day, 1 to 2, here on KDSJ 479. And you heard a lot of Chad Morris. It's time, fellas. It's time, Razorback fans. The Arkansas Razorbacks and Chad Morris in year 2. They're making their way to Razorback Stadium, kickoff tomorrow at 3 p.m. And like I said, it's the A. So we're going to get this thing started real quick. We're going to take a real quick break, and then we're going to come back with the Arkansas Democrat Gazette, Scotty Borderland. It's time to get this thing going. You know what I'm talking about. It's the A. But first, real quick, we want to give a shout-out to all our sponsors, Lindsay & Associates, Locomotion, Corey Beck's Custom Painting, and KDK's Chicken. Demetrius, give him a little more audio, and you know what I'm talking about. Let's get it. Scotty Borderland, he's up next. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479.
In place defensively with in particular our defensive line, the depth there to allow us to continue to grow and improve off of last year in all areas. Played a lot of young guys in the secondary last year, but that when you do that, mistakes happen, but you gain valuable experience, and expect that to pay off this year.
Coach to your left, standing by the camera.
Hey, Coach, Jacques Doucet, WAFB TV. You talked about progress. You had a game against LSU last year that was closer than expected, kind of right down to the wire. Is that kind of what you're talking about, and can you speak about going to Baton Rouge this year?
Well, I think when you look at what we're trying to do, we're trying to build a program that's going to sustain and be consistent over time. This isn't about building just a winning football team. This is far more than that. This is about building a program. And when you build a program, you talk about being a consistent winner, week in and week out. And when you do that and win.
Welcome back. It's the A edition of our Friday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, where we like to get everybody all the information we can come up with. I mean, we try to come up and cover every single base, but we can't do it without bringing our good buddy with the Arkansas Demgad. You know who he is, Scotty Borderland. Scotty, welcome to the A, my man.
It's good to be back with you, man. What's going on?
Oh, nothing much. Getting ready for this 3 o'clock kickoff. The haze and the boring, Scotty, as they say. Talk to me about what you're going to be looking for. Let's talk about the depth chart, any surprises. But what will be the expectation when you step into Donald W. Reynolds tomorrow?
I just kind of expect Arkansas to be a little bit sharper, especially early, than they were earlier, than they were last year. I don't think Arkansas scored like an offensive touchdown in the first quarter of last year's. So I'll be looking to just to see if like the offense can get clicking a little bit sooner than it did last year. We obviously know that the quarterback play has improved, so want to see Ben Hicks be sharp, see if the offensive line can protect him, keep him on his feet, and see if just that group can can bully Portland State's defensive line in their front seven or front eight. We know their defense is a little bit awkward, a little unorthodox. So we'll be checking out, see if the offensive line can get some push, and then you just want the defense to stay healthy. They're probably not going to show a whole lot. Just be physical, fly around, maybe try to come up with some turnovers too.
Are there any surprises, Scotty, in the starting 11? I mean, was announced, and we all come to realize 11 new starters. will be taking the field on Saturday. But are there any surprises in the depth chart that maybe you didn't expect to happen? That just are like, whoa.
No, I mean not that I can really think of. I think that the starting 11 on the defensive side of the ball has been pretty set in stone for a while. I think we all expected that group to be, the ones back even in spring ball. I think Scooter didn't go through spring ball, but we knew as soon as he got back and he was healthy, he'd be thrown in there too. So not really any surprises to me. I think Colton Jackson's good to go. That sounds like he's healthy. I think that was really kind of the only question mark we had. Maybe we'll see Trey Knox start. I know Traylon Burks and Trey Knox are among the two true freshmen who are projected to start. So we'll see if Trey gets out there early. And then let's see on the offensive line. I can't really think of anything. The only other one I could think of might be Shannon O'Grady, but I think Chad Morris has said this week that he's expecting CJ to be ready to go.
Hicks gets the call to be the starter in tomorrow's home opener. To me, I think it's beneficial. Chad had mentioned, having him out there with his maturity and experience in this offense, and like you said, to your point, Traylon and Trey, two freshmen that'll possibly be starting. And who knows if Colton doesn't get that starter at left tackle and you move Myrick over, his backup is Stromborg. What is your take? Did he make the right call, in your opinion, Scotty, of who number one should be August 31st?
Yeah, at the quarterback position. Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with Hicks. I mean, like we said earlier in the week, like it's not really my call to make. But yeah, I think Hicks is. I think it's the best route for week one, I guess you could say. We know Starkle even missed. He missed what was it, Wednesday's practice because he was back in Texas at a friend's funeral, so he missed at a time. So we don't know how that's going to play into how much time Starkle's going to get on Saturday, and I don't know that it should factor into it. Just you got to take care of what you got to take care of. But I mean, I think Starkle's going to get in probably the second half. If I had to guess, they're probably going to give Ben some time to just kind of settle in and see what kind of damage they can do with him back there.
28-point favorites heading into tomorrow's game. In your opinion, Scotty, is this the type of team that you would expect, from a media or a fan standpoint, when you arrive at the stadium, that this team should go out and convincingly have a 28-point win? Are they at that level, talent-wise? Or, I mean, in your opinion, honestly?
Oh, yeah. If Arkansas doesn't cover 28 half points tomorrow, I'm going to kind of be like, what's going on here? Like, Arkansas should put this game away, pretty early. They just got too many weapons, and like Portland State's just outmatched. And I mean, they do have some talent. I know at tight ends. I think the kid's name's Charlie T. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, so I'm not even gonna try. But he's obviously their biggest weapon on offense, and I think they've got a pretty veteran secondary. There's going to be lots of one-on-one matchups there with Arkansas receivers, so we'll just see how that goes. But yeah, if Arkansas doesn't cover 28.5 tomorrow, I might be scratching my head a little bit.
Talking with Scotty Borland here on OTH. The Arkansas Democrat-Gazette covers all Arkansas information, gives it to you straight up front. I mean, that's why we like having him on. Let's flip over to the defensive side of the football. For the first time, Scotty, and I know my time of covering this football program, and as well as yours, the amount of senior depth on that defensive line. In the SEC, that's what this is about. You want to be good, you got to be really good and experienced in that particular part of your football team. Talk about that experience. And, is this going to be where as the defensive line goes, they're going to be the backbone of this football team, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think we all know it starts up front, especially in the SEC. And I feel like you've got pretty good confidence, probably more confidence in playmaking ability with Sosa in the middle. TJ Smith's also a senior too, and he can give you some production. I feel good about the starting tackles, and then you got two senior defensive ends who it's time for them to take a step forward and prove themselves as playmakers. And I think they understand that. But yeah, it's always a plus when you've got experience and veteran guys and voices on your defensive line. And then I figure the game will probably get out of hand, and you'll probably see a lot of the young guys come in after them, and we've heard all fall and all spring that the senior group has invested so much in the younger guys. And I think we'll see a little bit of that, and it'll be a teaching tool for these young guys for sure, getting their first college experience. The defensive front, I think can be a strength of this defense by year's end.
My last question to you heading into the game: who's going to be your defensive player of the game, and who's going to be your offensive player? And to finalize it out, Scotty, what will be the final score, Arkansas versus Portland State?
Yeah, on the defensive side of the ball, that's a good question. I might go with Jarquez McClellan. I think he might pick off a pass. And then on offense, I'll go with Traylon Burks. I think he'll probably catch a touchdown pass or two. And then my final score prediction, I've got Arkansas 45-13. I think both of the quarterbacks will, Ben Hicks and Nick Stark will both come in and throw a couple touchdown passes, and maybe Rakeem will get a rushing score in there too. So don't expect it to be particularly close.
Well, Scotty, as always, my man, love having you on the A segment. And, anytime I can get your information, we love having you on the Hill. But thanks for taking time out, my man. I'll catch you in the press box tomorrow.
Yep, sounds good. Thanks for having me.
All right. That was Scotty Borderland of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette giving his take. We ain't stopping yet, are we, D? We can't ever stop. I mean, we're going to continue this thing on. And now we're going to go to the Pig Trail Nations part of it. Alyssa Orange, she's going to be joining us and talking more Arkansas, Portland State. We said it was hey, we got to give it to you how we do it. You know what I'm talking about. Let's get it. It's on the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479.
So this is a young football team. Part of the reason why I brought 3 seniors that are the leaders of our team is because their importance of them guiding this football program. We got 16 seniors this year. So we're going to be young, and we're going to play a lot of freshmen. How many, what's the exact number, that I don't know. But I do know that the way that our players, the way that our staff recruited, and the caliber of players that we've brought in addition to the development of the players already on our roster, I anticipate that these young guys are going to come in and push to play and push to start. And so it'll be interesting battles at not just the quarterback position, but all positions in fall camp.
In the middle, coach, third row.
I'm trying to paraphrase Sosa, but he said something to the effect of, we've been lying asleep and now it's time to make the bed and get up. It sounds like something you might say. Is that one of yours?
Well, our guys have done a tremendous job of leading this team from the time we walked off the field at Missouri. And so they set the standard for our program. The way they have come to work every day, the way they approach this summer workouts, the first, second, third, fourth quarter phase of our program, they set the standard. We know what we want to demand, but at the end of the day, it's them. And as I've shared with them before, there's nothing wrong with lying in the weeds and just being passed by and just be ready to strike when you're ready to go.
Okay, coach, again, middle section, third row.
Coach, you lost 3 starters, senior starters on the offensive line, but your numbers are a lot better. Can you just talk about the competition there and the overall health? Is the offensive line going to be improved this year?
Well, that definitely is an area that we focused in on recruiting. We played the year with 8 scholarship offensive linemen. Your number needs to be 15. So we were heavy in recruiting both offensive and defensive lines. We anticipate taking it in somewhere around 17 into fall camp. That's going to allow us to have options. But the improvement in our offensive line is absolutely critical to our success this year. And they understand that. When you talk to our offensive linemen and the way that they've rallied around each other, I'm very excited about where that group is. And they understand the importance that they play in this year's season.
Coach, second row, middle.
Hey, Coach. You talked a lot about leadership previously, so I'm just wondering, are there any freshmen that have come in and kind of taken on that leadership position, or maybe even some sophomores from last year that kind of said, hey, we got to step up, we've got to fill these positions?
There really have. You would expect that when you bring in guys that want to compete to play. And what we've found more than any is the young guys that we have brought in have helped push the older guys. And it's made the older guys realize that, hey, you're going to take our lead. Here, we feel you. We hear you. But we're all one Razorback. And we've been in this program longer than you have. And
welcome back. It's the A edition of the Friday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. And real quick, want to give a shout out to our sponsors, as this would not be possible without the love and support of you all. Lindsay and Associates, Locomotion, Corey Beck's Custom Painting, and the good one, KDK's Chicken. But we got to keep on because it's Arkansas. There's just a few hours. I think it's 48, 49 or so. So we had to catch up with my good buddy, a young lady I consider to be a family member and really good at her profession. Pig Trail Nation's Alyssa Orange. Ayo, what's up?
I just feel so honored to be a part of the family. I gotta just tell you that first and foremost. Thank you.
How you say HO3FO6? But let's get into a little Arkansas football. Looking at the depth chart, we've had a chance to digest it. Had a chance also to meet with Chad on Wednesday. C.J. O'Grady, we saw Trey Knox also come out to the practice field. C.J.'s done a little work. With those two added into this game plan on Saturday, Alyssa, even at 80%, what is your expectation offensively of game one in 2019?
I think it's going to be fun to watch. I hope that they come out with a little energy, with a little pizzazz. I would love to see maybe a couple, trick plays, but, Chad Morris get creative, pull some things out of his sleeves, and have some fun, because I think that's what fans want to see. Am I right, Pat? Like, with everything that happened last year, they want to see something exciting.
Great
Give
point.
them a show. This is Portland State. Yes, you want to obviously see and make sure that your offense is running well. You don't want to do too much too soon, but have some fun. So I'm really hoping to see some fireworks a little bit maybe tomorrow. But also with what they've got, everyone just wants to see the speed.
Right.
Traylon Burks is going to play. We're not sure about Trey Knox yet, but these are two freshmen they brought in. They're tall, they're fast. People want to see that. Rakeem Boyd coming off surgery who says he's feeling the best he's ever felt. We want to see how fast Rakeem Boyd can be. And then obviously the big story of the week was Ben Hicks being named starter.
Absolutely.
So what does Ben Hicks look like in game setting? We want to see that. I think it's really interesting, so much emphasis with what Chad Morris is saying about this decision is not based on talent. Not saying that Ben Hicks isn't talented, but a lot of it was about how long he's been in this offense, his knowledge of this offense, and the fact that they are going to play a lot of young guys and they need somebody there to kind of almost be like a conductor to tell people where to go. And Morris has made that point over and over again that Ben was a guy they felt comfortable leading the offense. They needed a game manager game one, and that's where they felt most comfortable. So I just hope fans aren't thinking, oh, well, Nick Starkel must really be bad. I honestly don't think it had a lot to do with talent. It had a lot to do with making sure that these younger guys know what they're doing and have someone on the field to help them figure it out game one.
He also talks about building a program, that for sustainability, and I get that. When you talk about that, it has to start, Alyssa, with the seniors that they have on this year's team, being around them as we have been SEC Media Days and here through fall camp. There just seems to be a different it about this group. It has to start with them. Talk about just what you've seen, and do you think this is going to really be the backbone of what this season could become?
Yeah, it's interesting you asked me that because Drew Ammon and I were talking about it on our Facebook Live yesterday, and the biggest thing I see with the senior class is they just refuse to go through what they went through a year ago. It's almost like when you're in another situation and you're just like, I'm not going to do that again.
Right.
I refuse to let what happened last year happen again. And it's almost like they've decided that not on my watch, this ain't going to happen. This, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I don't think so. And so you get that mentality of this senior class refuses to fail, and it's kind of bleeded over into the rest of the team. And then you've got all these new kids bringing this new energy. And as a senior class, I bet they're really fun to me. This is a freshman, sophomore class who is not only going to get some experience in playing time, but they bring in this fresh new energy. And as for seniors, they're kind of like, heck yeah,
Great.
Okay, let's go then, So that's what I'm seeing. And that's what I've seen from guys like Steven Harris and Sosa and guys like that who this is their last year, I thought it was interesting when I talked to Sosa on Media Day, said, I walked in here my freshman year, and I was like, I'm going to be here 3 years. I'm not even going to make it to my senior year.
Right.
But obviously things have happened, and he's here, and he goes, I think I'm here for a reason. And he thinks that reason is to help lead this team and turn this program around. So I thought that was really cool to hear Sosa say on Media Day, and I think that he's trying to live that out.
Talking with Alyssa Orange of the Pig Trail Nation, also of KNWA. Alyssa, you talk about Sosa, highly ranked, ninth rated in his class when he came here, 5-star. Well, they've gone out and got quite a few of those guys that potentially in that freshman class are just flat out, possible 3-year and gone type of guys. Now, when you have that type of talent, the expectation level is going to go up. I know when we go out there as media or as fans, that number 16 that's on that field, and some of those freshmen on defense, like number 11, those guys have expectation levels. How do you think, those guys, are they ready mentally? Because from what we've seen, Alyssa, practice-wise, they're more than able to handle all that.
I think that this is going to come with some time. For me to sit here and be like, oh, they're 100% ready, they're not going to have butterflies, I'd be fooling everybody if I said that.
Right.
And Nick, who's a senior, was like, I might have a little butterflies on Saturday, but once the game starts, I'll be okay. And so I think, obviously you're going to go through a little bit of excitement. It's a much bigger stage than high school ever was. If you say you're ready, you can say you're ready, but it's a little different when you walk out there for the first time. But I think what really helped them, and a lot of these guys, like your Trey Knox and Greg Brooks and stuff, came in the spring and were able to go through spring camp. So it's not like they've only been here for 6 weeks. I really feel like it benefited Arkansas to bring those 8 or 9 guys in early.
Correct.
And so I think they're almost kind of like a freshman and a half, like they haven't played a season yet, but they've been through a lot that, some other freshmen around the country haven't decided to, not enroll early. So, I'm excited, don't be too harsh on these freshmen the first game. I hope people are like, oh, they are hyped up for nothing. I mean, they're still 18-year-old kids.
Absolutely.
So cut them some slack, but I think they'll be okay.
I'm of the belief you're only as good in the SEC and in college football if you have an experienced defensive line, bar none. Sosa in the Wednesday night or Tuesday night availability we had mentioned, about the 5 or 6 seniors that they'll have the luxury of playing. I mean, that's really big. Talk about what position do you think? Are you in agreement with me that this defensive line could be the position that they're only going to go as good as far as they go?
You know what, Pat? You must have bugged our office or something, because I'm literally doing a story on the defensive line today. And I'm telling you, I've been wanting to talk about these guys all fall camp, and my boss has been like, oh, we got to focus on the other stuff, And you know what? And I also told, Drew Ammon also the other day, we brought up the defensive line, and I go, we haven't really talked a lot about this. But in fall camp, if you're not getting talked about, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
Because you guys are good, and you guys have got it locked down, and we don't need to talk about you.
Right.
Y'all good, So, I am really excited to see what this defensive line is doing. I mean, look, you've got Sosa again. Dorian Gerald is a senior. Gabe Richardson is a senior. T.J. Smith is a senior. Jamario Bell is a senior. You've got Mateo Soli, a freshman. Isaiah Nichols, who's a redshirt freshman. Jonathan Marshall, who's a junior. I mean, these guys are stacked.
Right.
I think that's the word Sosa used on Media Day when I asked him to use a word to describe that unit. He said stacked. Gabe Richardson, TJ Smith said hungry. I mean, these guys can be a force. And when you look at this team, there isn't another position group on this team that is all seniors. That's what they are. They are all seniors and then some freshmen. And they're going to be really, 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 really good. And I'm excited because these guys have almost cut there like a beast waiting to get unleashed, honestly. I mean, they're ready to go. They are. I mean, if you look at the swagger that unit has, and again, talking to Gabe Richardson on Media Day, he goes, the biggest thing I think that's going to set us apart from other D-lines in the SEC, because, side note, if anybody watched that Florida-Miami game, sloppy, but Florida's got a really good defensive front. And you know my background, Pat. I'm only saying it if it's true. I'm never going to compliment the Gators.
Absolutely.
Unless it's accurate. But
Absolutely.
they did, and it was that defensive line and that defensive front that kept Florida in that game because, gosh forbid, they gave Miami about 13 opportunities to win it. but you go back to what Dave Richardson said. He said, what's going to set us apart is our technique and our attention to detail. And so I'm excited to see if that comes to fruition. I'm excited about that group.
And I got a two-part question because we've talked about a lot of talent, but we got to break it down. You have to give me your offensive player in Saturday's home opener versus P-State, and give me a defensive player. And then finally, what's the final score when we walk out of there?
Oh, okay. So I think my defensive player is going to be a little easier. I think I'm going to go with Scooter Harris. I'm making it a little easy on myself.
Yes.
But I think that he's going to have a pretty good game, maybe set the tone a little bit. He might not play a lot. It is Portland State, and we know that John Chavis wants to kind of limit his reps, and then a game like that is a really good way to do so. But I'm going to say Scooter Harris as my player of the game on the defense. On the offensive side of the ball, it's a little hard, but, I'm going to go Mike Woods. I think that he's a wide receiver. He's a leader, even though he's just a sophomore. And I think that, they'll get the ball to straight out plays, DJ O'Grady. But I can see Mike Woods making some big plays on Saturday. And my score, my goodness, I'm going to say, you're going to have to stick with this tomorrow, too. I can't say one thing on your show and another thing on my game day show.
Right.
So I'm going to have to write it down.
Right.
I'm going to say 48-17.
All right, Alyssa, that sounds like a good one, and I appreciate you coming on. We'll be looking forward to your broadcast tomorrow, and I'll catch up with you in the press box. Or, we always end up on the field getting the up close and personal. But hey, you have a blessed one, and thanks for taking time out on the A.
Hey, also, real fast, I wanted to say hello.
I'm here.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, my son turned 2 today. Happy birthday.
Well, happy
It's
birthday.
Crazy, but happy birthday to my son, Finn. He turned 2 today. So,
I like that.
big day for me.
Yes, it is. Hey, you go spoil him as much. Well, you're already doing that, but you guys have a
I
great
will.
day.
Oh, yeah. He's spoiled. Thanks, Pat.
Uh-huh. That was Alyssa Orange of the Pig Trail Nation and KNWA. I mean, always a pleasure to bring more. But we ain't done. We are not done. It's the A. We told you we was going to bring it to you. We don't mess around. Otis Kirk of Hallville.net with more Arkansas insight. He's going to tell us what he thinks about Portland State and the Hogs at 3 p.m. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Let's get it.
It's unsolved homicide, and it's basically just shedding light on his name and keeping his memory alive.
Okay, on your right against the wall, please.
Michael Braden from Saturday Down South. I heard an interview with Coach Morris this year about you moving inside to defensive tackle, and basically I think it was before you decided on whether to come back or go to the NFL, and he said he advised you to don't come back if you don't buy in. He said you have bought in. Can you talk about that conversation you had with Coach Morris?
Pretty straightforward. He was basically like, if you're not going to buy in, you should go ahead and go. If you feel like this is not the position or things like that, you're not going to be a leader on this team, you should just, you know what I'm saying, go to the NFL and take your talents. Go ahead and cash in. I felt like I could be all of that. I could be a lead on this team, buy into the position, buy into the weight game, and everything like that. So I came back.
To your left over here, standing up.
Sheldon Haygood with WBRC here in Birmingham. You mentioned the doll and the family member, but why that particular doll? Does that represent something, or is his name that, or what?
No, not at all. This doll is just, I like Chucky, so, you know, that's why I got Chucky. I didn't think to get Annabelle or nothing like that.
To your right on the second row.
Soraya Ponder, Tuscaloosa News.
Yes, ma'am.
Building off of another question that was previously asked, how was the transition going from outside to inside?
Yes, ma'am. It wasn't too hard. It was just basically gaining weight. I played inside my freshman year, so I was at 3-tech in the previous defense. We was in the 4-3, so it wasn't too hard to go ahead and go back to my senior year. And last year I played some inside as well. I played both inside and outside, so it's not going to be a tough transition at all.
Right here in the middle, third row.
Chad was saying, I think there's 52 total freshmen. When you think of a number that astronomical, what comes to mind?
Welcome back, welcome back. It's the A edition of our Friday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, coming to you each and every day from KDSJ 479. And, you know, we can't say enough and give enough thanks to our sponsors, as it's Lindsay & Associates, Locomotion, Corey Beck's Custom Painting, and the good one, the best chicken in the South. And it's not your mama's, KDK's Chicken. But let's continue on. Arkansas getting prepared to take on Portland State in their home opener. And we got to talk more, because we still want to know what else can we talk about that people don't know. So we thought we'd catch up with my good friend of Hogville.net, the man that does it about as good as anyone, Otis Kirk. Otis, welcome to the A, my man.
Hey, Pat. How you doing today, man? I mean, you ready for tomorrow?
Man, you know how it is, man. We've been watching a lot of fall camp, and I'm talking about Otis. The heat, it's a little bit different the older you get. I mean, you know what I'm saying. But what we've seen is something I think is going to be really, really impressive to the fans, to say the least. Now, I won't give away too much, but let's talk about your points. When you look at the depth chart, did he get it right with the starting 22? Are there anybody that in there that you didn't think, or someone that you thought should have been, or is Arkansas ready to roll?
Well, you know, it's hard to say really no more practice than we saw it. It's hard to say that maybe this guy should have started or that guy, but, you know, I was always kind of a fan of Nick Starkel at quarterback, but, you know, Ben Hicks has been there, and there's, you know, and we haven't seen a scrimmage or anything, so you really, I mean, it'd be unfair to Ben to say he doesn't deserve it. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to start. I'm just saying I like the talent of Starkel, but we'll see what Ben brings to the table tomorrow. I mean, you know, just because you start doesn't mean you have to finish. So it'll be, and that's at any position, you know. So it'll be interesting to see how Arkansas rolls players in there. I'm looking at even at the linebacker depth. You know, I mean, Coach Chief has talked about the linebacker depth, and they have in the past. And then when it gets to games where they really need Scooter and those guys played every snap. We'll see how much Grant Morgan, Hayden Henry, those guys play. I think you get depth by developing and playing them. You do on the defensive line. I'll tell you the position I'm really going to be watching tomorrow, and I know everybody's going to say the offensive line, quarterback. I get that. But I'm going to be watching that defensive end position, too, and here's why. I want to see what the Sully kid brings. I mean, you got the three seniors, and then you've got Sully, and you've got some other freshmen. But Sully is one that I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does in a game, you know, and he's not going to start. Gabe's going to start, and Gabe should start. But I am looking forward to that. You know, I mean, and that's not true of any position, be it Starkville, any of these guys. I mean, you see Grant Morgan, when they get in the game, what do they do? I mean, the backup cornerbacks, I'm Jalen Cadillac. I'm really anxious to see what he can do at safety. So, you know, we know a lot about the starters, Pat, the guys who are starting that have been here for a while. But I'm looking forward, and not just the freshmen, but some of the guys maybe that have been here a while but haven't played that much. I'm looking forward to see how they come on tomorrow.
They have to stick on that defense. You know, you go back to John Chavis' defenses when they're really, really good, be it the days at Tennessee, LSU, Texas A&M, and now he's starting to try to build that depth to what he likes. And what my point is you go back to those defenses, and what's the common denominator? Otis, defensive ends, corners that can play press coverage, but those ends that can get a pass rush, and they can be real disruptive inside. With this defensive team that they have, be it as young as it is, you go back also, too, to that maturity on those first two levels. Talk about that, Otis. This is something that Arkansas hadn't had with so much senior leadership in that front seven, with Scooter and that front line. How big is that going to be, not just for tomorrow, but will this be the tone setter for the Razorbacks going forward in 2019?
Well, I think that's one thing. That's been missing on this team, leadership. I mean, and seniors bring it. I mean, guys like Scooter, Sosa, TJ, those guys, Dorian, all of them, Gabe, Jamario. I want to see the kind of leadership they bring, and if those guys can come through, and the Cam Curls, even though he's not a senior, he's easily the most experienced guy back there in that secondary. So you look at him, is maybe what Ryan Pulley would have been this year had he came back, because Ryan would have been your senior cornerback. Right. And so Cam is your junior safety who has started 2 years, and the only guy back there that started those two. So I'm going to throw Cam in with Scooter and those seniors, simply because they need him. And, and I think, it's going to be important how those guys lead. I mean, I think that's going to be one of the keys to the season. And because there's going to be some adversity. Absolutely. Be it tomorrow, be it next Saturday down in Oxford with Dallas against Texas A&M, you're going to have adversity. And when it happens, you want to see how these guys lead them, because everyone's undefeated right now. I mean, Arkansas is undefeated, and so it's easy to be a leader, and you see when things start going wrong. But I see a difference this year in the fact that I think the key this year is why I don't think people are getting false hopes up about the leadership. Right. I think these are the guys that have bought in. Otherwise, I don't think they're still here, Pat. I mean, look at the players that left in the offseason. A lot of players left. Well, and I'm not saying everybody left didn't buy in. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying the players who are here, I think, have bought in, and I think that's the difference maybe that you see this year that you didn't see last year.
Otis, we're not going to let you go. Demetrius is about to cue up our song, and we're about to get these picks in the SEC going forward. But like I said, we got to have you on. This is something that we do. As soon as he gets it queued up, we'll get going.
Okay.
You ready to get it going? Well,
I'm
let's
ready,
go,
man. Let's get those. I love picks. I love those. That way I can show what an idiot I am with that. I mean, I can show what a real idiot I am. But no, seriously, I do. I love making those picks, man.
First game, Alabama will be playing the Duke Blue Devils. Which way you going?
Oh, I'm going to Alabama. I know they got players suspended, linebackers hurt, running backs suspended. I get all that. I go Tide.
All right. Demetri, where we going?
Oh, definitely Roll Tide.
Of course. I'm going Roll Tide. Next up, Auburn. In the game of I believe in the SEC, because as the only two top 15 teams or top 20 teams playing each other. Oregon, Auburn. What you got going?
I'll go with Auburn, and I don't think it's going to be as close. I know they're like 3.5 point favorites the last I saw. I don't think it's going to be that close. I think Auburn wins. I think they win fairly easy. I'm talking about 10 points, 2 touchdowns or more.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, I think they win that game easily. I think they win.
Demetri?
Auburn and Oregon. I think Auburn has a chance. I think they have to win that game. That's going to be a lot on Gus Malzahn. I think that's going to be the pressure releaser for him for the year. So it's a must win.
I'm gonna go with you guys. I'm not gonna be the black sheep in this deal. Auburn wins it because Gus has to have it. He's gonna be calling the plays. I think defensively, those boys like Arkansas, they have a veteran defensive line. They'll get this win in Jerry's world tomorrow. Next up, another great SEC contest. I think Derek Mason has one of the better teams that he's had, if not the best team, Georgia and the Vanderbilt Commodores.
I'll go with Georgia, but it's at Vandy if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it
and
is.
I go with Georgia, but I tell you what, Vandy's going to play them close like they always do, and upset there would not surprise me. I can't pick it, but it wouldn't surprise me. I'll go with Georgia.
Otis can't pick it, but I can pick it. I'm going Vanderbilt. I'm a big fan of Mason down there. I think he's going to do something great this year. It's going to be a wild pick, but I'm going Vanderbilt.
See there, fellas? I'm telling you, I'm not going to be the black sheep. Nope. I'm sticking over here with my boy Otis, and I'm going to take Georgia. I picked them to win the SEC, and I can't go away from that by picking them to lose. On the road, I do agree with Demetrius. I agree with Otis as well, people. This is Derek Mason's best football team. I'm telling you, listen to what I say. He's going to beat some people or a team he's not supposed to beat, but it's not going to happen Saturday.
Hey.
I'm going to take the Georgia Bulldogs.
So after Saturday, I need y'all to take me out to lunch if Vanderbilt win that game. I'm going to need lunch on y'all.
Next up, Otis. Lexington, Kentucky. Kentucky and Toledo. Which way you going?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'll go with Kentucky, but I don't know that much about Toledo this year. I will go with Kentucky. I don't think Kentucky is going to be nearly as good as they were last year. I'll go with Kentucky, though.
Demetrius?
I'm gonna have to go with Kentucky too. I agree with Otis. I don't really know enough about Toledo. The only thing I know is they beat Arkansas a couple of years ago, so I'm gonna have to go with Kentucky.
I know this. Mark Stoops has built a program, people. Listen to what I'm saying. He built a program. You go back and look at those win totals and how he's developed each and every year, 4, sometimes 5 wins, and then you get a 10-win season. Those kids don't do nothing. They expect to do things now, and the culture has been set. So I'm taking Kentucky, and I'm taking Kentucky big. Simply, I'm adding a little more about what they did to Arkansas and Little Rock. I'm still bitter about that guy. Still bitter. Kentucky gets that one. LSU and Georgia Southern. How we leaning?
I'll go. This one's pretty easy. I'll go with LSU in that one. I think that would take a heck of an upset to pull that one off.
Demetrius?
You going Memphis?
LSU and Georgia Southern.
Oh, LSU easily.
Man, I'm sticking with you guys. It ain't a matter of if, it's by how much they want to put on the scoreboard. That's what that's about. And they don't call it Death Valley for anything. They may have to call the National Guard in on that one. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they seriously may have to call the National Guard. We'll take LSU. A real good one also in the SEC, Ole Miss and Memphis. Otis?
Yeah, this is one I picked yesterday. I probably should pick the other way, but I went with Memphis, but I'll stick with them. But, man, in my story I picked Memphis, but more I think about it, I think Ole Miss will probably win that game. But I don't want to pick both because that's not fair to, I picked Memphis, so I'll stick with them.
All right.
I'm going to go with Memphis, too. I'm not sure that the Ole Miss has the offense to really just get the job done. Ole Miss is really a question mark on the offense. I think that there are some playmakers on defense, but I'm going to have to go with Memphis on this one.
Yeah, I like the point you made with, it's kind of like with there at Ole Miss. Rich Rod, new offensive scheme, kind of like Arkansas was a year ago under Chad. So I can kind of see it, being a little murky there. But, man, this is the SEC, guys. This is the SEC, and you should be the team. I don't care if it's Memphis. Just on talent alone, I'm going to stay with the SEC, and I'm going to call Ole Miss to go down the street about an hour and a half and get this win. I'm going with the Rebels to take this one as well. Mississippi State travels to New Orleans, as they say, to take on Louisiana Lafayette. Otis?
I'll go with Mississippi State. I don't think they're going to be nearly as good as most people think this year, but they're going to win this game. They'll probably win pretty easily. But, yeah, they'll beat Billy Napier in this game.
Demetrius?
I'm going to go Mississippi State.
Yep. The dogs will bite them, and they're going to bite them real good. I mean real good. Mississippi State will get this one. Next, Missouri and Wyoming, the Cowboys. Otis?
Missouri, I take them.
Demetrius?
I gotta go Missouri. I think too much offense.
Too much Kelly Bryant, too much defense. This offense is going to be potent this year, people. I'm telling you. Missouri gets this one. South Carolina plays North Carolina. Battle of the North and the South. Otis?
I'll go with South Carolina. This is Mac Brown's first game back at North Carolina. He's a good coach. I don't know. I mean, can he rekindle what he had there at one time and then what he won the national championship at Texas? But I'll go with South Carolina. I think Muschamp's done a little bit better at he's done better at South Carolina than I thought he would. I think they'll get this game.
I'm going South Carolina. It's too many athletes, not enough on North Carolina.
I'm going to agree with you. I'm sticking in the SEC. They get this done. Muschamp, I think, has really built the depth that you have to compete with. And I'm a big believer in John Scott Jr., and he has a very, very good defensive line as well. You see where I'm going? I'm sticking with the defensive line. So I'm going to say South Carolina gets this one. Georgia State and Tennessee. Otis?
Oh, I'll go. Tennessee will get this one. They'll take this. It should be another one of those almost name your score games.
Demetrius?
I'm gonna go Tennessee. I still have a lot of question marks about Tennessee, but I think they're definitely the better team.
See, we got to get a drum roll for this one because everybody been waiting for this all week long, all year long, all camp long. Otis, from myself, they want to hear from you. They want to hear from Demetrius. They want to hear what your score is. It's come to that moment, my man. Arkansas, Portland State. Score and give me your offensive and your defensive player of the game. Otis?
42-14 Arkansas. 42-14. Defensive player of the game, I will give that to it'd be easy to say Scooter because you could say that every week and probably be right a lot more than you're wrong. Right. I'm going to just jump out on a limb and say, again, Sosa tomorrow. Offensive player of the game, I'll give it to Rakeem.
D?
For defense, I'm going to say Joe Fouché. I'm going to come out and give a random one. I'm going to go Joe Fouché at safety.
Okay.
For offense, I'm going to give it to a lineman. I don't have one in particular, but I feel like I'm going to give the offensive award to somebody on the line. I feel like somebody in that line is going to step up and make a name for themselves and really become a household anchor for the offensive line. And the score, I just need my 40 piece. I really think they should goose egg 40-0. But
okay, then we'll stick with that. Well, here it goes, people. I've been hinting, so I got to break on in. Arkansas offensive player of the game. Devwah Whaley, the senior. I think he's put in work. I think this is something that's really going to – we keep talking about seniors, so I'm going to stick on that side of the ball. I think Devwah gets around that 100-yard mark. We'll be able to show some different features, getting out, catching a few passes. So I'm going to go Devwah Whaley. Defensive player, Jamario Bell. I think Jamario gets about 2 sacks or so and finally lives up to what Razorback fans, when this kid came out of high school, we expected Jamario, and he's had a great camp. So I'm going to say Jamario Bell. Final score, Arkansas 42, Portland State 10. That's my final count, 42-10. And I believe that's going to wrap it up. Otis, thanks for coming on here and taking part in the A, man. I love having you on. You guys can catch all of Otis' stuff in hogville.net. Go check him out. I mean, this man has all the recruiting information, does a great job. But thanks for your great job. Thanks for taking part in the picks, Otis. And I'll see you on tomorrow in the press box.
You bet. See you, man. Thank you.
All right. Demetrius, that's going to wrap it up for us. We got more work to do. Want to make a note before we get off here. You can catch Fayetteville Bulldogs football brought to you by On the Hill Sports Talk on FM 106.1. We come on pregame show, I believe it's 6:30. Airtime for kickoff, 7 p.m. at Harmon Field. Once again, make a note. Brought to you by On the Hill Sports Talk, Fayetteville High School football. I'll be doing the play-by-play alongside of my co-host as well during the airtime. Anthony Hicks will be right there for you. Check us out. But you guys enjoy the rest of the week. You enjoy the Arkansas games and much, much more. And we'll be back on Monday. Want to give a shout-out to our sponsors, Lindsay & Associates, with an office location in Fayetteville, also 2 in Rogers. Locomotion, located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall. Corey Beck's Custom Painting. And lastly, our newest one and the real good one, KDK's Chicken at 989 Razorback Road. Go check out Kathy Keith. Get some of those good chicken chunks. They got waffle cones. They got it all. I'm telling you, people, go by there tomorrow. That's where you want to go. 989 Razorback Road, KDK's Chicken. It's not your mama's. It's the best chicken in the South. That's going to do it for myself, for my producer, Demetrius. It's on the hill, and it's the A on KSJ 479. You guys have a blessed one. You know what I say. Let's get it.
He's we got to stop by Wild Wings.